You've already seen the mechanism. Your brain runs threat predictions. When predictions go uncontradicted, they harden into automatic responses. The protocol delivers contradictory experiential data under emotional activation with enough repetition to force reconsolidation. That is the engine. This video is the type-specific application of that engine, built for the Enneagram Type 1 Wing 9, known as the Idealist. If you carry the 1 Wing 9 architecture, your prediction error has a distinct signature, one that is quieter than most, more interior, and far easier to mistake for wisdom or discernment. What we are doing in this video is locating that signature with precision and building the corrective simulations that will update it. Let's define it exactly. Here is what your nervous system is predicting. Imperfect action in an imperfect world will confirm your corruption, and engagement will create disruption you cannot resolve cleanly. The pure Type 1 fears moral defect, being wrong, corrupt, inadequate to the standard. The 9 Wing layers onto that a second logic, that engaging with conflict, disorder, and unresolved reality is dangerous and should be avoided in favor of inner harmony. In the 1 Wing 9, these two fears fuse into a single operating pattern. Do not move until you can move correctly, and the world is too imperfect to move into correctly. The result is not the compulsive overfunctioning of the 1 Wing 2. It is something quieter and harder to catch. A principled, philosophical, internally justified withdrawal from action. The preparation that never ends. The standard that is never quite met. The resentment that accumulates silently while engagement is deferred. This prediction is running in the background every time you delay, refine, or retreat. It does not feel like fear. It feels like integrity. That is precisely what makes it difficult to train against. The 1 Wing 9's activation does not look like urgency. This is the key diagnostic difference from other Type 1 expressions, where the 1 Wing 2 presents as braced, forward, and ready to intervene. The 1 Wing 9 presents as settled, withdrawn, and compressed. The activation lives in the gut and belly, a low-grade heaviness, a held tension that rarely surfaces as visible distress. The shoulders may draw inward slightly. The breath is shallow and slow, not from urgency but from a kind of resigned holding, as though the body has decided the situation does not warrant full engagement. The anger is present but suppressed at a deeper level than most types. It does not fire as urgency. It accumulates as distance, a quiet withdrawal from the situation, the person, or the task that has failed to meet the standard. When you notice this compression, this flatness, this low-grade sense of retreat, the prediction is running. This is your signal to engage the protocol, not to honor the withdrawal impulse. Your avoidance will not announce itself as avoidance. It will present as standards. The 1 Wing 9 has a specific and precise sabotage architecture that must be named before the simulations begin. The first pattern is the inertia stall. The project is not ready, the conditions are not right, more preparation is needed before execution is warranted. Unlike the 1 Wing 2's perfectionism stall, which is driven by urgency, the inertia stall is calm. It does not feel like resistance. It feels like patience and discernment. The second pattern is philosophical displacement. Time and attention directed toward refining the ideal rather than executing the actual. The 1 Wing 9 can spend considerable time clarifying principles, developing frameworks, and articulating the vision while the work itself remains untouched. The third pattern is conflict withdrawal, the decision not to push back, not to take the hard position, not to engage with the resistance the real world will inevitably produce. Each of these is the same operation. The prediction protecting itself by keeping you in a state where imperfect action cannot occur, and therefore cannot confirm what you fear. The protocol cannot reconsolidate what you do not activate. Recognize the avoidance for what it is, and return to the reps. The incompatible state we are installing is not resolution. It is not perfection achieved, or the standard finally met, or the conflict cleanly resolved. For the 1 Wing 9 specifically, the corrective state is this: intact worth while taking imperfect action in a world that does not resolve to the standard. Both elements matter. The action must be imperfect, incomplete, possibly wrong, possibly meeting resistance. And the world must remain unresolved. The tension must be present, not eliminated. The prediction says imperfect engagement confirms corruption and creates irresolvable disorder. The corrective state directly falsifies both prongs of that prediction by generating the visceral experience of moving forward in the presence of imperfection and unresolved tension, while remaining inwardly uncondemned. Not the concept of that, the felt experience of it. Belly softened, breath moving, shoulders open, no resignation running. That is the data the one-wing nine's amygdala requires. Each simulation must meet 3 requirements to engage the amygdala and open the reconsolidation window. First, emotional activation. Target the 4 to 7 range on your internal intensity scale. Below 4, the amygdala is not engaged and no updating occurs. Above 7, you are flooded and the protocol degrades. Second, the scenario must end differently than your prediction expects, not by the imperfection being corrected or the tension being resolved, but by generating intact worth while the imperfection and tension remain present. Third, you must feel the corrective state viscerally. The somatic markers for the one-wing nine are belly soft rather than held, breath moving rather than compressed, a quality of forward engagement rather than settled withdrawal. If the body remains flat and distant during the simulation, you have drifted into the one-wing nine's characteristic dissociation from discomfort. Return to the activation. You will run each simulation for 50 to 200 repetitions before expecting durable change. The one-wing nine's suppressed and slowly accumulated fear pattern is deeply grooved precisely because it has been reinforced quietly over many years without appearing problematic. The Hebbian requirement applies in full. Construct this scene precisely for the one-wing nine. You release, publish, send, or deliver something that is not finished to your standard. It goes out into the world incomplete. Someone receives it. You cannot retrieve it. Hold the image under activation 4 to 7. The corrective experience is not that the imperfect thing is well received. It is that while it is out there, unfinished, visible, and possibly falling short, your internal legitimacy does not collapse. Belly soft, breath moving, no resignation running. The one-wing nine's specific challenge in this simulation is the dissociation impulse, the urge to mentally step back from the scene, to detach from the outcome, to achieve a kind of philosophical distance that mimics equanimity but is actually the withdrawal pattern. Your task is the opposite of distance. Remain present, remain engaged, remain uncondemned while the imperfect thing exists in the world. That is the data your amygdala needs. Someone pushes back against your position. The pressure is to smooth it over, to find the middle ground, to restore the harmony the nine-wing requires. In this simulation, you do not withdraw. You hold the position. You remain engaged with the resistance rather than retreating from it. Hold this under activation 4 to 7. The corrective state for the one-wing nine is not aggression and not rigid insistence. It is calm, grounded engagement with an unresolved tension. The prediction says engagement with conflict creates irresolvable disorder and exposes inadequacy. The corrective experience delivers. I am in the tension is not resolved, and I am not diminished by remaining in it. Belly soft, breath moving, present in the discomfort rather than withdrawn from it. Repeat, this is the deepest simulation for the one-wing nine because it targets the root of the withdrawal pattern rather than a specific situation. Construct a scene in which the world around you is visibly imperfect, unresolved, and not moving toward the standard, and you are engaged with it anyway. Not fixing it, not reforming it, not waiting for it to become worthy of your full participation. Simply present and moving within it. Hold this under activation. The corrective state is, this is imperfect, I cannot resolve it, and I am not required to withdraw from it to preserve my integrity. This simulation may feel abstract compared to the others. For the one-wing nine, that is intentional. The deepest fear is not a specific situation. It is existence itself in a world that will never meet the standard. The corrective experience must address that layer directly. Belly soft, breath moving, engaged, uncondemned. This is the rep. Your simulations will lose intensity over repetitions. When a scenario drops below 4, it is no longer engaging the amygdala, and you are practicing a version of the philosophical distance the one-wing nine already uses as avoidance. At that point, escalate. For the one-wing nine, escalation means raising the visibility of the imperfection and the irreversibility of the action. Make the thing you released more important to you. Make the position you are holding more exposed. Make the imperfect world you are engaged with more resistant to resolution. The goal is not comfort with the simulation. The goal is to keep delivering contradictory experiential data at sufficient activation to drive reconsolidation. If escalation triggers the impulse to reframe the exercise as unnecessary or premature, if the one-wing nine's philosophical mind begins constructing a principled case for why this particular escalation step is not warranted, note that response. That is the avoidance architecture activating under the language of discernment. Return to the rep. The simulations build the new pathway. Reality testing verifies it has been installed. For the one-wing nine, these exposures are deliberately oriented toward engagement over refinement. Send the draft before it is ready. Take the position in the room rather than holding it privately. Begin the project before the conditions are optimal. Engage with the imperfect situation rather than waiting for it to resolve. In each case, observe your body before, during, and after. The success marker for the one-wing nine is not the absence of the withdrawal impulse. The impulse to step back, to refine further, to wait a little longer may continue to fire. The marker is that you moved forward while it fired, and your internal legitimacy remained intact when you did. No collapse. No confirmation of the feared defect. Worth structurally unchanged in the presence of imperfect action. That is measurable. That is what the protocol is producing. This is the definition you are working toward. Sovereignty is not the absence of the compulsion. It is the absence of its authority. For the one-wing nine, the compulsion to withdraw, to refine, to wait, to preserve inner harmony at the cost of engagement, may continue to arise. The work is not to eliminate that signal. The work is to break its command function so that when it fires, you are the one deciding whether to act, not the prediction. This is what a liberated one-wing nine actually looks like. Not someone without standards. Not someone indifferent to quality or resolution. Someone whose standards are pursued through engagement, not protected through withdrawal. Someone who moves forward in an imperfect world with an intact sense of legitimacy. Someone whose integrity no longer requires deferral as its primary proof. You are not installing a new personality. You are reclaiming the authority your nervous system ceded to a false threat model. The mechanism is neuroplastic. The tool is repetition under activation. The target is the one-wing nine's specific prediction error. You have the protocol. Run the reps.